Before that, let us go through some theories. So if someone is going to ask you what is EC2, okay, so then what we can say, it is a web-based compute service because we use it through websites or through the web browser, which provide resizable computing capacity. Okay. Server in Amazon's data center. In short, you can say what is EC2? EC2 is servers in Amazon data center. In short, to the people who are not able to understand technical words, in short, you can tell them that EC2 is what? Server in Amazon data center. Used to build and host your software or any web service or any web application. So what is the purpose of creating any EC2 machine? The purpose is we want to deploy any application, web applications, or we want to deploy any web service like website, FTP server, or anything you want to host in the cloud. Okay, we use EC2 machine. Okay. Like earlier, we want to create anything. First, we have to do create a server in the data center. Then on top of the server, we create a web server, FTP server, email server, whatever type of things we want to give as a service to our users, whether it is an internet user or internal user, we deploy in that way. Now the things are changed. To make things easier, we use EC2 machine. But still, we are not using 100% cloud-based service. Still, we have the traditional data centers options in corporates. Next, what is AMI? Amazon Machine Image. Okay, so it is a template of computer root drive. Means it's an image which contains OS, also the softwares, your database, web server, whatever is there. So in short, you can say it is a ready to boot image. So AMI is what? Ready to boot image. We don't need to install it because in market, if you see, we have another images like ISO, NRG. So ISO image is what? The image which we use to install any OS that needs installation to be done. But here this image AMI is ready to boot image. Mean just select and turn on your machine, it will boot. No need of installation, no need of selecting language, partition, packages and all, and then complete the installation, wait for half an hour. It's not like that. It's a ready to boot image. Is it clear? Next, instance type. So what exactly is an instance type? So instance type are predefined templates. Okay, so predefined template with various configuration. So whenever we see there is a lot of instance type, T2 micro, T3 micro, X2 large, X3 large, like that, lot of options are there. And what exactly these all things are? These all things are predefined templates. So as per our requirement, we select the template wherever it fits, and accordingly the virtual machine will be created in Amazon data center. Okay, so that is what instance type, predefined template with various configuration of your CPU, memory, storage, network capacity for your instance. So is this clear? Instance type. Next is secure login. Okay, so here in AWS, if you want to log into your instance, there is no concept of password. There is a concept of key pair. So using that key pair, we are able to log in into that machine. And what exactly is a key pair? AWS store the public key and you store the private key. While creating machine, you download your key pair, that is what? Private key. And the key which is installed at AWS end, that is public key. When both private key and public key matches, then your machine is accessible. If you try to open with another key pair, it will not work. Understood? So that is your secure login information. Metadata. Here metadata is known as tag. So when you create EC2 machine, there is an option to define tag, and by default it is the option name. So name tag is there. So whatever name you give for your instance, that is there. And not only for instance, when you create security group, when you create key pair, everywhere you give the names. So that is what? Tag. Apart from that, you can have another options also to define the tag. So metadata means information related to the resource, that is metadata or tag. And why we use the tag? So that based on the tag we can easily search our resource over the AWS cloud. Okay, where it is we want to search with the specific name, the word we can search. Flexible payment options. So pay as you grow, you know very well that how much hours, the duration you have utilized the resource, for that much duration you have to pay. Even you have seen in my bills also, 0. This much hours you have utilized this machine, these things. So whatever resource you are going to use, for how much duration, for that you are going to pay. So pay only for the machine in a running state. If the machine is stopped, it saves the cost. So that's why if you are not using, you should shut it down. Hourly pricing is there. Partial hour count as full. Then we have reserved solution, schedule solution. So accordingly we can use our machine and accordingly we have to pay. So is this thing clear? If you don't understand any point, you can ask me, I will repeat it. ENI, Elastic Network Interface. So in this Amazon, this elastic word will come most of the time. But only the meaning of this elastic is as per need. You take it and when it is not required, you release it. Okay. So ENI, so leave this elastic, come the next is network interface. Network interface means simple, the network interface which we have in our computer and laptops. So ENI is the same. Elastic Network Interface is a virtual network card, virtualized NIC for EC2 machine. Understood? Like here in our computer also we have this one. So this is what? NIC, Network Interface Card. This is for wire, this is for wireless. Similarly, in EC2 we have ENI, Elastic Network Interface. So primary ENI of EC2 instance cannot be detached. Primary means when you are going to create EC2 machine, automatically on that time one network interface card will be added or attached. So that you cannot delete. Additional you can add also and remove also. Understood? Like we have inbuilt in our motherboard that we cannot attach, but USB LAN card, USB Wi-Fi card if we plug, we can unplug also now. So similarly here also we have option to add additional network interface card and that we can attach also and remove also. Next is elastic IP address. So what is the word? Again, elastic means whenever required you take it, when not required release it. So elastic IP address means it's a static public IP address. Static means fixed public IP address. So public IP address we always have to take from ISP, Internet Service Provider, and that IP address is used to access internet. Okay. So here the elastic IP address means fixed public IP address. Understood? So in some of the practical, we need to take this elastic IP address additional in our machine. So whenever you create EC2 machine, you will see there will be two type of IP address, public IP address and private IP address. So private IP address for internal communication and public IP address for external communication, means from outside if you want to access machine or any of the machine service, web application, we use public IP address. Is it clear? Next is pricing model. So in AWS we have the pricing model. What type of pricing model we have? On demand, pay as you grow, means how much you have used, for that hour we are going to use. Next is reserved instance. Okay, so reserved instance means you are going to fix, that will be only for you, that instance is not going to be shared, means complete hardware is only for you. Next is cheap and long term lock. Okay, so cheap and long term lock means if you are going to take for long duration, you have seen while creating estimate, then the price reduce. If you are taking for short duration, you have to pay short duration, you have to pay more. Saving plan is flexible pricing model, provide up to 72%, 92% like that. So lot of options are there. Out of that, there is a one more thing. Other AWS users sell their reserved or saving plan if they are not using it. So it is like bidding. Okay. And the dedicated host means physical server dedicated for your use. So lot of pricing models are there, and as I told you earlier to refer from page number 7 to 48. In that if you go, you have clear options about these all pricing models. And under that there is a link to refer to the AWS website where as of now what models they are having and which model is beneficial. Okay. So any confusion till here? These are the machine types, and see the pricing model. On demand, pay for the capacity, depend on the instance you run. Low long commitment, no upfront payments are required. Reserve, significant discount it will give you. Cheap and you can use for long time. Reserve means you are going to reserve for a long period. Saving plan means where you are going to a specific period. So saving plan is basically on a specific day they are going to have, like how we get the discounts over Amazon and like uh, Flipkart. There is a specific day now where they give 70% discount, 30% discount. So that type of things also happen here. A spot is like a bidding. Okay, this is a spot instance. The user who is not using, they use a spot. They'll give you as an just like you put OLX and somewhere you put the things which you are not using as a rent. Like nowadays, if you see, if you need any room partner, you have taken a big room, then what you do? You put an OLX that I am having one room space. If you want, you have to pay this much. So similarly, someone who has already taken the machines, EC2 machines on Amazon cloud, and they are not using it, unused resource, so they want to put it on rent. So for that they put bidding, and that is the spot instance. So in the spot you can set a rate. If any bid match with that rate, then accordingly you can purchase it. And dedicated means complete physical. So here is the Amazon pricing model reference where you can refer these all pricing models. You see, on demand, saving, EC2 spot instance. Per second billing is also there. So these all things you can refer. Now the next. EBS. What exactly is a EBS? Elastic Block Store. EBS is simply a hard disk. Okay. So here when you are going to create EC2 machine, you will see automatically one EBS is created and attached. Like for Linux 8 GB, for Windows 30 GB, like that it will created. Later you want to have additional hard disk, you can create additional hard disk also. Another advantage in EBS is you can take the snapshot of the data, and whenever your hard disk is corrupt, or if it is not corrupt also, you want to recover your data, you can recover from the snapshot. So that is the advantage of EBS. Okay. So any confusion in this? So EBS is nothing, simple a hard disk. Okay. So here, if you want additional hard disk, you will create one more EBS and attach to the EC2 machine, and you can take a snapshot, and if you remove the hard disk or if you delete the hard disk, later you can recover your data and the same size hard disk with everything from EBS. So any confusion in this theories? AMI, AWS Marketplace, these all things. And security group is what? Security group is a firewall where you define inbound and outbound rules for your machine. By default, in outbound, everything is allowed. So no need to delete or make changes in the outbound rules. Okay. And inbound means what protocols are allowed for other users to connect with my machine. That is defined in inbound. So when you create the machine, on that time you will see for Linux by default SSH is allowed, for Windows by default RDP is allowed, and yesterday we have seen the web service, so for that we have allowed HTTP additionally. So as per this we have done this all, and we are going to create a security group for this EC2 machine, and from there we will create EC2 instance. So let me share this in WhatsApp group. For more on theories on this EC2 machine, you can refer AWS docs option I have shown you now on that day. There is option docs.maws something like that, where you can go and search for any of the topics. This one, documentation. So you can go to this website docs.aws.amazon.com, and there you search for any of the topic. Like I have shown you everything in a summarized way, that what exactly it is and what is the definition for that. If you want to read in more depth about anything, you have here all the documents and options. Like for the EC2 machine, here you can refer all the theoretical topics, EC2 user guide, instance type, everything. As an PDF also you can go and see what exactly it is. Okay. So for interview, whatever I am giving, that is enough. But if you go and read in little bit more depth, that would be better. Why? Because some interviewer, if you answer something, from your answer again they will ask the questions. Okay. So for that you should have more knowledge, theoretical also. So now to create any security group, where we have to go EC2, and when you scroll down here you will see there is an option network and security. So here we have the option of security group. By default, you see security group name default, and it is a default security group, so we cannot delete it. So we can create a new security group. So whenever you create a EC2 instance and you don't do any changes, automatically one security group will be created, and that will be associated with the EC2 machine. But if you want that I don't want to use a different security group, I have a specific security group, I will use always same, okay, where I have allowed our HTTP, HTTPS, or as per our practical requirement. Okay, so what you can do, you create a security group, give the name, description. Why description? So that you can understand what are the protocols you have allowed inside. So for SSH, RDP, and HTTP I have allowed. So SSH for Linux, RDP for Windows, and HTTP for web service I have allowed. Any other protocol if you allow, accordingly you write. So by writing you are not going to allow, just you are creating. This is the VPC. You want to create the security group in which VPC? VPC means virtual private network. Okay, so here is a virtual private cloud. So virtual private network I am creating inside the cloud, Amazon cloud. Understood? So that is called VPC. So for which network? So we have the default one. So as of now, let it be default. Then here you see inbound rule. No inbound rules are there. Add rule. First type. I will use SSH. Okay. So you see port number 22. Source SSH is allowed, but for which source? Anywhere IP version 4. Okay. Similarly, add next rule, and if you want to delete, you can delete it from here. RDP from anywhere IP version 4. I want to add for HTTP. Anywhere IP. So I have allowed all my three. Later if I need accordingly I can allow. Scroll down. If you see in outbound rules, all traffic, all protocol, all range are by default allowed. So we should not change these things. Create security group. Understood? Give the name, allow the protocols, and create the security. Create it. Suppose I have created, okay, later I will show you. So now the security group is created, and you can see here there is a one security group with the name Tanvir SG, and there is a description also for SSH, RDP, and HTTP. I have created it. Three entries, there is permission entries in inbound rule and one is in outbound rule. Understood? Now where it can be used? Go to instance, launch instance. So when you are launching instance, you see test server. Let it be Linux. Instance type as it is. Let us create one key pair. And the type is ppk. Create key pair. Then here we have the option security group. Create new or select from existing. So we will select from existing, and here will be the list. Sorry, this one, Tanvir, selected, and based on that, whatever rules are there, allowed or denied, accordingly it will work. Okay, then launch the instance. Understood? Suppose you have not created security group earlier, like yesterday's practical you expect. Just next finish you have done, and you forget to add or allow HTTP. So later from where you can do it. So like machine is created and I forgot to allow HTTP or any other protocol. Then you go to the instance. So this is your instance. Click here. Scroll down. Here is the option security. Okay. So you go in the security. Here is the security group name. Click on the security group name. It will take you there and it will show you these are the inbound rules and what are the traffics allowed. If you have missed to allow HTTP, from here also you can click edit inbound rules, and from here you can add the rules and save the rules. Understood? So always when you have to allow, first you have to go to instance, then security, and from there you have to go to the security group, because maybe in your security group list there is a lot of security groups, because you are creating, you are deleting machines, you are not removing EC2, sorry, security groups, so there will be lot in the list. So I hope now it's clear how to create a security group and how to use it and later how to edit it. Okay. So now you see how to delete everything, because you might be not deleting lot of things. See, terminate instance. So this will delete only the machine. Rest all things means along with the machine, like ENI, EBS, elastic block storage. So these all things which are created, it will delete. Then how to identify these all? Let it terminate once. Then we will see here we have the option EC2 dashboard. So today when you go home, what are the things you have to do? First, go through the theories of the EC2, compare it. I have shared, that is a very short. You have to go to the website, documents, and from there you have to find out some extra points and make a note of this EC2 related topics. Okay, so when you go through, you will find lot of things. Then you create a security group like how I have created, and then create a web server and see whether HTTP is allowed because of that or not. Okay. So here when you come to the EC2 dashboard, here is the option refresh. When you refresh, you can see there is a one key pair is there. So every time you create key pair, you are not removing. So if you go and see, there is an option also to check the key pair. You see here, network security key pair. So you will find there is a lot of keys. Delete it. They are not going to charge you for this key pair, but it's better to make it clean. You see, now in left side, all things are 00. Right side, two security groups are there. One instance it will show, because when you terminate any instance, it takes time to remove from the list. Then go to the security group. Two security groups are there. Default you cannot delete. So you will delete the one which is created with your machine, or if you have created. Except default you have to delete all. Refresh it, you see it's deleted. Here also you go and refresh it. Understood? So like this you have to perform this practical. Next thing is tomorrow we are going to have EBS, elastic block storage. So how we will create, attach and all. So I hope all of you have already done this partitioning and mounting in Linux. So revise it properly, because tomorrow we are going to add the hard disk. So as it is a new hard disk, we will create partition, format it, mount it, we will store some data, then we will take the snapshot, again we will remove the hard disk, okay, and then we will recreate the hard disk with a snapshot. So that will be overall practical on Linux. Understood? So you have to revise that.